Hi guys, I know it's been a while since I last made a video. Life's been a bit hectic. I'll just say now that I've got my fan on. If you can hear that in the background, I do apologise, but it's too warm for me to turn it off whilst making this video currently. I'm hoping you can't hear it, but yeah, I apologise if you can. Now this video is going to be about the VK4503, a German tier 7 heavy premium tank that faces up to tier 9. It's kind of similar to the Tiger 1, but it's got differences too. The main difference is being that the Tiger 1 is faster and has a better rate of fire. This one has better accuracy and better armour. It's more usable than the Tigers because it's got a sloped upper plate, which means you can side scrape a bit with this tank. I've uploaded this particular video not just to show what the tank can do. I mainly uploaded this one because it's one of those rare examples where a teammate and myself are able to work really well together without really communicating. Team destruction and pretty much all my team have gone over to the left hand side, which isn't good because heavy tanks go through the town, so odds on red heavy tanks are going to come through there, and they've got some heavy hitting heavy tanks, so leaving them unattended is a really bad idea. I'm not going any further into the town. Now I'm not the type to rage on game chat, but I'm using the radios here to try and just say what you're doing is wrong, all piling over in one corner, you know, that's bad. But they're going to do it anyway. The Type 4 suggested I follow them, and I figure they're in a top tier tank. That's good in fighting in a town. Its downsides, of course, even in a town fight, are that it's got a pretty hefty rate of fire, so it's vulnerable on its own. However, I've got a fast rate of fire, and I've built this tank with view range in mind, so I can spot for it as well, which should come in use. The reason I built it with view range in mind is because when you're bottom tier, spotting top tier tanks can be one of the best ways to contribute when you're a bottom tier tank. And I don't mean you should sit at the back with binos and a camo net, don't do that. But you can have optics and a decent view range crew and stuff, and you can just be that little bit more passive and light up tanks for your higher tier. And that's what I'm doing in this game. Now I'm moving a little bit ahead. The Type 4 doesn't want to seem to progress any further just yet, which I can understand because it's, you know, a big giant target. So I'm going to slowly move ahead whilst trying to minimise my exposure until we can get a decent shot on the enemies, and then at that point I just have to hope that the Type 4 player is going to shoot targets that I spot and, you know, isn't staring off at a random light tank somewhere or something. As it turns out in this game, the Type 4 player was really quite good. I was hoping to track the T-34 there, didn't quite manage it, but the T-34 wanted to get some revenge on me and ate a shell from a Type 4. Again, I'm still being quite passive. I'm trying to keep my tank covered as much as I can. I'm going to stick with the Type 4 because I do want to spot for it. As it moves up, I'm going to stick with it, but I'm also going to use it as cover. Now, I'm not doing that in a scumbag way. It's just it has more armour than me and a lot more health. In this situation, me taking a hit off one of these tanks could take a third of my health, and the Type 4 could likely bounce it. There's only a couple of tier 9s in this lobby, most of them are tier 7s and 8s. So here, I'm just pulling back a little bit so the Type 4 goes in front. It smacks the T69, and now I'm going to move up. The T69's backing off, but I'm aware that there might be other targets in the field, so I'm driving up to the building here for cover. I'm going to put some extra pressure on the T69, and I'm hoping just to spot artillery and any tank destroyers that might be a threat for that Type 4. Here we can see the gun is quite good. It's nice and accurate. It's got a decent enough rate of fire. Like I say, it's not a DPM monster like the Tiger 1. You can't really brawl in this tank. The Tiger 1, if you're top tier at least, you can just DPM things to death, but you've got to be more careful in this one. The T28 looks like it's AFK, and the Type 4 is going to push into the field now. It can't see the T28, but I'm going to keep shooting it. The reason I'm doing that is because after time, AFK tanks suddenly become live when you get near them, and I don't want that punching a hole in the side of a Type 4, so I'm going to focus on that until it's destroyed. Which it is. Now I can move up, and I need to find the artillery now because currently they're the biggest threat against my ally, and I want to keep that Type 4 alive. It spots and manages to take out one of the arty, and now I just have to look for the other one. And there is a tank destroyer somewhere nearby as well. So I've spotted the TD. I'm just going to try and focus on its tracks. In this game, I'm after just supporting the Type 4. I'm okay picking up assist damage. However, it repairs its tracks, but it doesn't help it. The Type 4 smacks it, and then I finish it off. Again, you can see how reliable this gun is. It is a laser, and due to that you don't have to feel the pressure to get up close to engage enemies with this tank. You can play as second line support if you want, and you'll still be a reliable damage dealer. I'd avoid frontline combat with this thing unless you're top tier. If you're not, let the gun do its work from a distance, but like I said, don't camp at the back of the map or anything like that. Again, I've tracked it. Type 4 heavy takes it out of the game. The fact that this tank is slower than the Tiger 1 can be a hindrance sometimes. It struggles a lot of the time to hit around 13, and you do notice it. I was playing the game before the Tiger 1 got all its buffs, and it used to be slow, so the mobility on this feels like the Tiger 1 used to feel. And you'll have games on large open maps where you'll just be too slow to really do much for that game. Situations like this as well, I'm not fast enough to actually go get any more damage. I'm hoping the 50 TP might pop up a little bit so I can get a side shot, but it's not going to happen. And that's the end of that, unfortunately. I didn't do massive amounts of damage, but two of us managed to take that flank together by just managing to work well. Which is nice, to be fair. It doesn't often happen in this game, so when you can have a bit of... Well, we played almost like a platoon would there, I guess, just with no communication at all. This was a fun game. In general, this tank can be quite fun. It's not the powerhouse that the Tiger 1 is, but if you're patient, then you can put it to good work. I'm quite fond of tier 7 premiums myself. I do like tier 8s, but because you have to face tier 10s all the time, they can get tedious, so I find the tier 7s are just a little bit more fun to play because tier 9s aren't as broken as tier 10s. There's the Type 4 player. I just wanted to highlight their gamer tag because they played quite well. They were good to have on the same team. So if you spot them in your game, need any support, I'd suggest going helping them out. Now, I'll go out to the garage and I'll show you the stats. I'll compare it quickly to the Tiger 1 for you just so you can see the differences. They're not huge on paper, but in game you do notice them. It's mainly that engine difference. This one's quite a bit slower. The fact that this does have the sloped upper plate though does mean that you can do better in urban situations than the Tiger can. If the Tiger's not top tier, then it's going to struggle in a close range engagement. I mean, you might be able to just DPM the other tank to death, but you're going to take hits doing so, whereas the armour on this one means you might actually be able to block a few shots. But when I say armour, you know, it's got some armour. As you can see there, it's not amazing. This isn't something you can just drive out into the open and expect to bounce a lot of shots. The upper plate's not so bad. You turret due to the shape. If they hit you either side of your gun, it can pen quite easily. And the sides of your turret are paper, so you don't really want to angle your turret much because they'll just be able to shoot through the tubes. Now, as the gun stats, as you can see, 220 and 0.33 accuracy is really nice. The engine power is only 700 and the rate of fire is only 7.14, and they're higher on the Tiger. The view range is nice though at 380, which is why I've got optics on this and I've built it for spotting when I'm bottom tier. Now, I'll pull up the Tiger 1 stats for when it's fully upgraded. I just have to find it. There we go. Right, so we can see the aiming time's 2.7 instead of 2.3 and the accuracy is 0.34. So that's a little bit worse, but it's got a better rate of fire and the engine power is quite a lot better. And you really do notice that in game. So if you're not keen on slow tanks, I would avoid this one. It's not the slowest heavy tank, but it is a bit sluggish. I do think it's worth the money myself though. I didn't buy this, I'll be honest. It was one I did want to buy. This one was gifted to me by Second Chance, one of the older Wargaming staff members. But if I didn't already have this tank, I would have bought the Adler on the times it's popped up on the personal offers and things like that. It's a decent tank, it's not overpowered, it's well balanced, and if you just like dependable workhorse tanks, then this is definitely one to buy. Thanks for watching.